In this giant box that I have here, we have the new dungeon crawler from Battle Systems called Maladum. But without any further ado, let's just get the box open because this is heavy and I would think that we have a lot of stuff in it. Also, a small disclaimer, the box has already been opened as we received a damaged box that we have to go through and see what was damaged. Unfortunately, the core box is damaged, but you will see that in just a minute, and that is also why it has been unwrapped. But let's get all the contents of the box out on the table so we can go over it. So first up over here we have the core box, and that is the one that has already been unwrapped because it was damaged, which you can also see here on the front of the box, but I will put that aside. Then here we have the walls of Enveron, which is some additional terrain. We have the locations of Enveron, which is also terrain. Then we have the Maladum United Assault Multi-Party Bundle. And in the other side we have, oh this is heavy, the Fantasy Dungeon Modular Terrain. 732 pieces of terrain. And we have two expansions here, so we have the Oblivion's Maw. And we have the Forbidden Creed. But let me just get, oh, and we also have a battle mat here. But let me just get the box to the side and let's take a look at all the individual boxes. So first off we have the core box, and as I said, you can probably see here on the top, it was damaged when we received it, and we have talked with the publishers about a possible solution about this. But let's get down the table and take a closer look. So as you can see, it says Maladum Dungeons of Enveron. It is an immersive adventure in a realm of magic. This is a dungeon crawler just like the original Hero Quest or some of the other games that we've got over the years. But what really puts this game apart is that it comes with fully painted 3D terrain. But let's turn it over and take a look. And again, here you can see how it is almost completely dented and broken. And it's even worse when we get to the back of the box. Here on the back of the box you can see how it is completely teared open and how it is dented. It says here 3D scenery included, and this scenery doesn't require you to build and paint it. It is just cardstock that is printed in full color, and you just assemble it with small combination locks, and then you're ready to go. You can disassemble it, store it in the box, and use it again the next time for your next scenario. But it says here Maladum is a fantasy miniature board game set in the kingdoms of Enveron, a prosperous continent on a distant world. The players control small bands of adventurers seeking their fortune across a detailed 3D gaming area. No glue or paint required. They must venture out from their camp, defeat their enemies, complete the objectives and get back to safety. The last part is vital. More than just a single game, Maladum's campaign system takes your adventure through a continuous branching narrative, developing their skills, upgrading their equipment, and immersing you in their story. Maladum is based on the best-selling sci-fi game Core Space, but has been reworked to provide a compelling fantasy experience. And then we have the content here, which we won't go over because we're gonna open up the box. It says here 60 to 120 minutes, 1 to 4 players, 18, 8, 14 and up. But let's get the box open. And as I said, because we had all this damage on the box, we already have unwrapped it to check the components, and you will see why in just a moment. So first off here we have this neoprene battle mat, and it's actually a pretty decent size. I can hold it up here for the camera. And it has this nice grid system and very nice printing, and it is a very high quality, and it also doesn't seem to have any folds even though it is stored like a rectangular in the box. Then we have this leather pouch here, which is used to store all the tokens that you need to pull. We have the acrylic range rulers, And then we have these, which just looks like some cardboard that you don't really need, but these are very, very important when you need to store everything back in the box, because this is actually what allows you to store the acrylic rulers and all the different terrain to ensure that it doesn't damage it. So don't throw these away if you have the game. Then we have some plastic bags, and then now you can probably see our problem. So when we open up, you can see this large crack here, and we were a bit afraid that some of the miniatures was broken or had taken damage. That doesn't seem to be the case, but we had to check anyway. So if we look over here, then we have this track over here that is used to track different things as you play the game, where you can put in different small pegs that we're going to see in just a moment. And then we have the player boards here, where each player character will put their player card and their inventory and equipment, and they have pegs for the different ability points. And underneath these player boards, we have the ally or companion boards, which is just a smaller version. Below that, we have our first card pack. And this card pack is, let's see, I actually don't know, so let's just open it up. So we are seeing a lot of new expansions being developed and published for the game Hero Quest, which have definitely got a second era after Hasbro relaunched it. But people are starting to say that this could be a Hero Quest killer alone because of the 3D terrain, but also some of the new ways to actually handle things like inventory space and the whole way of moving around and how magic works. But let's continue with the unboxing. So here we have the cards. So we have some Balefire, Renew Vigor, Respite. It seems like this might be magic. Tremors, yeah, so all of these seems to be magic spells. We have the connectors that are used to connect the different cardboard walls and 3D terrain. So we have like straight connectors, we have these forks here, we have 90-degree angle connectors. Then we have some larger cards here. So here we have some high gloss, kind of sticky finish cards. We have a lot of these. So these seem to be reference cards. Yeah, a lot of these are reference cards. Then we have Druid, Contender. These might be some of the cards with the different mobs. We have some clue cards, direction cards. Yeah, so a lot of cards, and these are, I don't know if you can see, but the text is very, very small. There's a lot of information on these cards. Down here at the side, we have what seems to be a wet marker. So there might be that you can actually draw or mark something. That might be why these cards are so slippery. Just gonna put this down so I have some more space over here on the table. And then next up we have the miniature tray. We can see here that we have our heroes. And we have some adversaries, we have some normal mobs, we have like a big guy here. And I would say the sculpts are decent. It is not the highest quality, but it has enough details and they are deep enough that they will look pretty decent also when they are painted or just shaded. We have some more miniatures over here that have been snuck away. Again, different sculpts of what seems to be different enemies or companions. I actually don't know. Then we have some of these pigs, so these are black pigs. We have some blue ones, pink, green. Then we have the dice, so this here is the magic die, and then we have some what I would think is attack die, and don't know what these last two are. And over here we have some more big adversary miniatures. This one is a heavy one. So this one is just another color of the one we just saw. We have a small rat. We have some bat-like or almost wasp-like fairy things here. We have small rats, spiders. We get more miniatures. And I think it's interesting that these don't have a separate hard case compartment actually. And underneath this miniature compartment, there we go, we have this small protective sheet, and then comes all of our rule books. So first off here we have the actual campaign book that tells about the story and the different scenarios, how to set it up. And again, the text is a bit bigger here than the cards, but it's very nice layout. Not gonna go much through the campaign book. Then we have the read first, which is a list of all components and how to store everything and set up the game and prepare your game. We have a list of the walls, the different additional components that you use to set up these scenarios, how to build the 3D terrain, and of course the rules of how to play with these components. And then we have the big hard case Maladum book here. And this is of course the rule book, and it is very nice. It has these glossy pages, these matte pages, and it has a lot of text, but it's also very well laid out and have some nice pictures in some pretty decent vibrant colors that makes it a lot easier to understand what you should do. It also has some nice examples, but it is a big one. It's coming in on 161 pages. And then in the bottom we have all the cardboard, which is all the 3D terrain. And as I said, these are just cardboard pieces that you pop out, and you use these connectors to stick them together, and then you can build up the different layers so that you actually get 3D terrain. Underneath that we have the actual player tokens. So here we have the player boards of the different players that you can, of the different playable characters. And on the other side we have a lot of tokens, but let's open this one up at least because the 3D terrain is just terrain. So as I said, first off here we have the player characters, and on the back here we have an overview of what they can do. We have the different monster cards here and the adversaries. We have all of the different equipment, and this is what I meant with the equipment system. So when you have these boards over here, you can carry as much equipment as you have room for, so you kind of have to place and find out if you can move it around, just like you did in the old Diablo and Diablo 2 games. We have a lot of spell tokens, a lot of tokens of different conditions. We have additional character entries here, more equipment, more boards, which I think is for the tracking system, even more equipment. We have some more monster boards, more equipment, and we have another set of equipment and condition tokens. That was the core game, so let's look into some of the expansions that we have over here. So first off we have the player mat, which is just an additional player mat, just like we had the core game, so I'm just going to put that aside. Then we have the first expansion, and this is the Forbidden Creed. So let's get it on the top-down camera. Here, so it says the Forbidden Creed, an expansion for Maladum Dungeons of Enveron. And if we turn it over, it says here that it is a new narrative campaign, and we can see that what it contains, but let's just get it open and take a look inside. So first off we have the rule book or campaign book for this expansion, and it has the same layout as we saw in the main core game, and it has the different scenarios. Then we have the new additional tokens and the new player character boards and equipment. And we have some additional terrain pieces, and this is almost as much terrain as we had in the core game to really expand your scenarios. Then we have the miniatures, so we have additional player boards, we have some new dice and some additional picks. Let's see if we can get this up. So we have some additional connectors for the terrain, and we have some additional picks in black, blue and green. We have a new die here, which seems to be an alternative magic die. We have the additional ally or NPC boards here. We have some new enemies. like this golem of sword, and what I think is probably this Harbinger. This is actually a pretty decent skull. And then over here, of course, we have the new cards, the new clue cards for the scenario, and we have some of the new event and ability and spell cards as well. So yeah, this is primarily miniatures and new scenarios. So yeah, one expansion down, let's take a look at another one. So the next one is here, this is Oblivion More, and if we take it on the top-down camera, we can see here it says Oblivion More, an expansion from Maladum's Dungeons of Enveron, and on the back we have a list of the different components, so we have more terrain, more enemies, and this time we don't have any new playable characters, but let's get it open up and take a look inside. So of course we have the campaign book and digital rule book here for this expansion. Again, component list, same layout, and here we have the different scenarios and how to set them up. We have new monster boards and equipment, and this time we only have this one sheet. We have a few sheets of additional terrain, so you can build even bigger maps or alternative rooms. And then we have these big miniatures. So this is actually the first miniature we've seen that needs to be assembled. So it seems like you will find the right place to set all these arms here. And on the other side, we have some smaller enemies, like what seems to be a mimic inside a wall, and a mimic as a chest, which is a classic in fantasy. But yeah, we have some additional connectors for terrain. We have another special dice. We actually have two that we haven't seen before. And over here we have some bases. It seems like that is also for the arms actually, so they can probably be used both separately and as part of the big monster. We have a few big new clue cards, and we have some additional spell cards and ability cards. But yeah, there was another expansion that we looked at, and then we have two more over here, so let's go through them. First we have the Walls of Enveron right here. And if we take it down to the camera, it says here that the Walls of Enveron is some modular terrain piece with 171 pieces, and it seems like this is only terrain, so I'm not going to open up. So it seems like this is just another copy of the Walls of Enveron, which is also part of the core game. So let me put that aside. And then we have this box here. So this one says Maladum Unite Assault Multi-Party Bundle, and it doesn't say anything else. So if you look at the back, it is completely blank. But let's try and open it up. Okay, so in here we have a lot of picks, some player boards, some miniatures, and some cards. So we have a lot of green picks, pink picks, blue picks. We have additional dice of both the core dice, the magic dice, and the digital dice. We have some different colored rings. Also, this is probably for some multiplayer play, maybe. I haven't actually seen any rulebook yet. So we have a lot of player boards, like a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 player boards. We have some additional miniatures here, like these skeletons here. They're actually also a nice sculpt, simple sculpt, but looks decent enough. We have some additional spawn cards, and do we have anything underneath? Yeah, we do. So we have some additional equipment, and we have some additional boards here to write your renown, your storage, and your stats. That's probably what the marker is for. So it seems like you can play a lot of additional players with this expansion, but no campaign book or rule book, so I don't actually know how it should be used, to be honest, but maybe we're gonna find out. But yeah, there was this brown box here, the multi-party bundle. Then we have the fantasy dungeon pack, and that says that is only terrain, but this is 700 and 32 additional terrain pieces, and if you look at the back, we can see that this allows us to build not only a single story, but actually multi-story terrain with hanging bridges and stuff like that. So very nice addition. I don't know if this is used in the game, or is this just this additional terrain that you can use for other miniature games or to create your own scenarios. And then the last thing we have over here is this one. This is the locations of Enveron. And this is also pure terrain, as you can see here. So we have some special terrain. It also says that it is a terrain bundle. So I'm not going to open that up, it is just more terrain. But yeah, that was all the content in the big box containing Maladum, the Dungeon of Enveron. And as you can see, there is a lot of scenarios and a lot of terrain. And I do think that this is a fantastic way to kickstart any dungeon crawl collection, because this is unique with the 3D terrain, and also you get a lot of playability in a reasonable few number of boxes. So if you have the core box and the 2 expansions, I would say that you're more than set for at least a year or 2, even with a stable gaming group. I'm looking forward to looking into the rules, because this is an advanced version of the normal dungeon crawlers, and I don't know all the nooks and crannies yet. Also, if you have any comments, please write them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please consider giving us a like and subscribe. It is highly appreciated and it really helps out the channel. But that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching and happy gaming.